Denver organization experimented with giving people up to $1,000 a month, and it reduced homelessness. It increased full-time employment. That, according to a study, money put to good use. Mark Donovan, the founder and executive director of the Denver Basic Income Project, started a social experiment in Denver, where for the past few months, several hundred of the city's most vulnerable people have been given cash with no strings attached. As of January 30th, the region had 9,065 unhoused people, compared to 6,884 the year before. This is such a basic study. Did good come of it? It seems so. The results so far, participants who were sleeping on the streets at the start of the experiment, now with more money in their pockets, said they were feeling safer, experiencing better mental health, and enjoying access to more stable and welcoming living arrangements. Insider with the reporting. Many participants reported that they have used the money to pay off debt, repair their cars, secure housing, and enroll in a course. These are all paths that could eventually lead participants out of poverty and allow them to be less dependent on social support programs. Last October, more than 800 people were enrolled in the basic income plan, but they didn't all receive the same stipend. There are three groups. One receives $1,000 a month for a year, another receives $6,500 up front, and then $500 a month from there. And another gets just $50 a month. The guaranteed income also dramatically reduced visible homelessness. Those who received $500 a month or more had seen the biggest gains. To start, fewer than 10% said they were living in their own home or apartment. Well, at the 6-month point, more than a third say they lived in their own housing. When the initiative began, some 6% of the people in the $1,000 a month group said they were sleeping outside. The number fell to 0 just 6 months later. The group that received a large lump sum similarly reported a decline from 10% sleeping outdoors to 3%. It's significant. Not the only city where this has been tried. San Francisco, study of 14 people receiving $500 a month, found 2/3 of those who were homeless at the start had found permanent housing 6 months later. Smaller cities such as Santa Fe, New Mexico, have also experimented with cash payments, as have rural areas, including upstate New York. Philadelphia is even extending the concept to other vulnerable groups, including people who are pregnant. We hear so much, Rayyvana, from the politicians in Washington when they're not barking at each other and doing things that have nothing to do with the people and why they were sent to work on behalf of the people. But they talk about spending and welfare and handouts and socialism and just all of this nonsense. This costs so little. And each place it was studied, the results were extraordinary. Isn't this proof that we can spend less on taxes if we just start helping people as people?
And it's so fascinating because, like you said, it's not very expensive. We'd end up spending less in the long run because, surprise, surprise, criminalizing homelessness is very, very expensive, particularly when you're consistently locking up the homeless, putting them in jail, and then taxpayer dollars are being spent going to private organizations that run those private prisons, as opposed to just giving people money, which absolutely directly help them. We saw that in this study and similar studies in this country. We also see it around the world, where countries that have significantly lower rates of homelessness are countries that have stronger social safety nets. There are countries that, protect people before they end up, with nothing and living on the streets. And it's so sad to see, pregnant people included in this as, a measurable amount of the homeless population. Because even if you're the most cruel individual who thinks that, you get what you deserve, you've suffered because you weren't economically efficient or you weren't a hard enough worker, you're going to punish a child, a baby, an infant, because of your supposed belief of a wrong being committed by the parent. That's just cruel and unusual. And why shouldn't we uplift everybody? It's better for us. It's better for the economy. It's better for our communities. And if you're someone who is always talking about how homeless people in communities make those communities less safe, just pushing them somewhere else doesn't solve those issues. Raising them up out of poverty is how you solve those issues that you're supposedly so concerned about, and in a more cost-effective way. Everyone's benefiting.
Yep. My favorite part of this is the no strings attached. Okay. Because we've gotten into this thing in America where you give someone a dime and you want to take over their life, take their soul, their firstborn. They have to jump through so many hoops for just a little bit, as if they created the problem. Did they create this economy? Did they create these social ills? You give them just a little bit and you make them do so much because you have to be grateful. You have to be grateful. No strings attached. And look what these dark people, unhoused people were able to do for themselves, right? Look what they did for themselves. You gave them a little bit and they made a lot out of it. Wow. Sounds like human resilience to me. But that's just me.